Welcome to this comprehensive guide on Mule account investigations. This training is designed for bank investigators and covers the full life cycle of a Mule account case, from the moment a transaction monitoring flag first fires all the way through to suspicious activity report filing, fund recovery, and coordinated network takedown. By the end, you will have a clear, structured framework for handling these cases with confidence and speed. Every Mule account investigation follows a structured path. Understanding this end-to-end process ensures no critical step is missed and that every decision you make is defensible. We begin with alert triage, reviewing transaction monitoring flags, fraud referrals, or law enforcement tips to prioritize what needs attention first. Next comes customer profiling, where you assess account history, onboarding data, and the customer's behavioral baseline. Then we move into evidence gathering, mapping fund flows, identifying linked accounts, and documenting third-party patterns and timing. After that, classification is where you determine whether the subject is a knowing mule, an unwitting participant, a victim, or a legitimate customer. Finally, action and escalation. You restrict, recover, file a SAR or STR, expand the network investigation, or close with a documented rationale. Mule accounts exhibit consistent patterns across 4 dimensions. A single indicator on its own may be explainable, but convergence across multiple pillars is a strong signal of criminal activity. First, account control. Look for new device logins, changed contact details, or third-party access patterns. These are signs the account holder may not be in control. Second, the deposit profile. Watch for credits from unknown sources, victim payments, or multiple unrelated originators crediting the same account. Third, rapid movement. Funds transferred out within hours, minimal dwell time, and split amounts designed to avoid detection thresholds. Fourth, exit methods. Cash withdrawals, crypto purchases, and international wires to high-risk jurisdictions. This is the final stage of layering. Tracing funds through a Mule account requires you to analyze both the inbound and outbound sides of the transaction chain. Each side carries distinct red flags. On the inbound side, look for multiple unrelated payers credited in quick succession. Payment references may mimic legitimate invoices or rent. Victim names visible on inbound credit narratives is one of the strongest indicators of authorized push payment fraud feeding a Mule account. Also watch for sudden spikes in credits far above the historical norm. On the outbound side, you will see immediate wires to secondary Mule accounts, often within minutes of receipt. Cash withdrawals across multiple ATMs avoid single transaction limits. Crypto exchange or peer-to-peer off-ramp transactions convert funds to digital assets. Prepaid card loads or e-wallet transfers further obscure the trail. Remember, legitimate customers rarely move 80 to 100% of a large inbound credit within the same business day. One of the most consequential decisions you will make is classifying the account holder. Getting this wrong has serious consequences. Restricting a fraud victim compounds their harm, while misclassifying a knowing mule as a victim allows criminal activity to continue. A knowing mule is recruited deliberately. They receive payment or commission for allowing account access and may communicate with the criminal network. An unwitting participant has been deceived, often through a romance scam, fake job offer, or money flipping scheme. They genuinely believe the activity is legitimate and are often younger or financially vulnerable. A fraud victim has had their account hijacked without their knowledge via account takeover, SIM swap, or social engineering. They may be entirely unaware transactions occurred. Finally, a legitimate high-velocity user is a business with verifiable invoices, seasonal spikes, and activity consistent with their declared purpose. To rule out false positives, check for supporting invoices, corroborating documentation, evidence of hijacking, or a consistent profile that matches declared activity. Let us walk through a realistic case study, the Parker Network. This is a 5-day multi-account investigation illustrating how a Mule network is identified, mapped, and dismantled. Day 1. A student account receives £12,000 from 3 unknown individuals. All payments are labeled as rent, yet there is no prior rental income on the account history. Day 2. 80% is transferred to a second account held by a relative. The remainder is withdrawn as cash at 2 separate ATMs. Day 3. The relative's account sends funds onward to a cryptocurrency exchange via faster payment. This is classic layering. Day 4. The alert fires on the student account. The investigator identifies two more linked recipients receiving funds from the same three senders. Day 5. The network is mapped to 6 accounts across 3 banks. A SAR is filed, all accounts are restricted, and fund recovery is initiated. Here is the key escalation trigger. When 2 or more accounts receive funds from the same set of victims and move them to a shared downstream beneficiary within 48 hours, this indicates an organized mule network, not isolated activity. The Parker case demonstrates how a single alert on one student account can unravel a coordinated 6-account network spanning 3 institutions. Your ability to identify shared senders and common downstream beneficiaries is what transforms a single account review into a full network takedown. At the student account node, you have 3 unknown payers, rent labels, no prior rental history, 80% same-day outbound, and cash withdrawal. The relatives account receives a large credit from Parker with no prior relationship to the senders, then immediately wires to a crypto exchange. The linked recipients share the same 3 senders as Parker with similar timing and similar outbound patterns, confirming organized coordination. The crypto exchange is the shared downstream beneficiary across multiple Mule accounts, the convergence point that confirms network structure. At each stage, you face decision points. Day 1. Monitor with enhanced scrutiny. Day 2. Restrict Parker's account to prevent further outflow. Day 4. Expand investigation to linked recipients immediately. Day 5. Coordinate with other banks, file the SAR, and initiate recovery. Once a Mule network is identified, you must act across multiple work streams simultaneously. Speed matters. Funds move quickly and delays reduce recovery prospects. First, restrict. Apply immediate account restrictions or blocks to prevent further outflow from all identified network accounts. Second, recover. Attempt fund recovery via the receiving bank using recall mechanisms. This is time critical. Act within hours where possible. Third, report. File a SAR or STR with the Financial Intelligence Unit. This must not be disclosed to the customer. Tipping off is a criminal offense. Fourth, refer. Pass network intelligence to law enforcement. Provide full transaction mapping, account details, and linked beneficiary data. Fifth, expand. Document your rationale and either close the case or expand to additional linked accounts identified through network mapping. Mule networks rarely stop at the first account identified. Each new account discovered feeds back into the investigation, potentially revealing further nodes. The network expansion loop is the engine of a thorough investigation. The cycle works like this. You pull transaction history, map shared senders, classify the new account, restrict or monitor, feed the findings back to the network map, and identify linked beneficiaries. Then the loop repeats. Alongside this, you must file a Suspicious Activity Report or SAR, also known as a Suspicious Transaction Report or STR. This is a mandatory disclosure filed with the National Financial Intelligence Unit when a bank has knowledge or suspicion that funds are proceeds of crime or connected to terrorist financing. It can be filed before, during, or after account restriction. Timing depends on operational risk. One critical point: tipping off, meaning directly or indirectly informing a subject that a SAR has been filed, is a serious criminal offense. Never discuss the SAR with the customer, their representatives, or any third party not authorized to receive that information. Let us recap the 5 principles that define effective Mule account investigation. First, triage first. Prioritize alerts by risk indicators and victim impact. Not every flag is a Mule, but every flag deserves a structured, evidence-based assessment before dismissal. Second, profile deeply. Compare activity against declared purpose and account history. The gap between what a customer said they would do and what they actually do is where Mule behavior lives. Third, classify carefully. Distinguish knowing mules from unwitting participants, fraud victims, and legitimate high-velocity users. Classification drives every subsequent action. Get it right. Fourth, map the network. Follow shared senders and beneficiaries across accounts and institutions. A single account investigation that stops at one node misses the full criminal picture. Fifth, act decisively. Restrict, recover, report, and expand in coordination. Speed is your greatest asset. Funds move in minutes, and every hour of delay reduces recovery prospects. Apply these principles consistently, and you will build defensible cases that protect victims and dismantle criminal infrastructure.